So for a long time, virtual reality has just been something we see in science fiction or movies. But today, thanks to today's technology, virtual reality can be experienced by everybody. The gaming industry has adopted virtual reality and is creating new games to be played along with it, giving everyone the experience to play virtual reality. But like all new things, problems occur and questions on whether or not virtual reality will harm or benefit our society arise. While the effect virtual reality has on gamers is frequently disputed among many people. Today I'll be discussing on how virtual reality affects people's mental state, physical state, and how its stage of development can affect gamers as well. First, let's take a look at the mental effects. We can learn things through virtual reality. There was a study taken by an environmental journalist where people were put into a room, put the virtual reality headgear on, and they were tasked with cutting down trees. And then the result of that study was that people had a greater appreciation for the environment. The two people involved in the study, named Sunju and Jeremy, claimed, quote, "When individuals feel that their behavior directly influences the well-being of the environment, they are more likely to be concerned and actively care for it," close quote. Now, although virtual reality can be a positive teaching method, there are also detriments to how it affects society as well. There are already current links between games and violence in children and horror games creating fear in people and gamers. So virtual reality will only magnify this effect. And there is a YouTuber named Mark Fishbach who recorded his experience playing a virtual reality demo of a horror game. And he's a grown man, and while playing the game, he actually started crying, which a grown man crying, it's something to be concerned about, especially parents who their children are interested in playing virtual reality. People also get so immersed in the game that the world around them gets flooded out, and which can lead to the gamers becoming antisocial because they're just playing in virtual reality so much. Now that you've seen both sides of the mental effects, let's talk about the physical effects. The physical experience players get is magnificent. They get the sense that they're actually performing in the real world, which means that virtual reality can be an effective tool in the workforce. For example, surgeons can use it to, they can use virtual reality to practice their surgical skills without having to cut into something real. It can also help disabled people feel a sense of independence. So someone missing an arm or someone with muscular dystrophy, once they put the headgear on, they can forget about their actual body, and they can, while playing virtual reality, they get a sense that they are whole and they don't have a disability. While these examples demonstrate positive physical effects, there are also disadvantages as well. Because people are so focused in the game, they forget their actual surroundings. So for example, someone playing baseball or golf, when they go to swing the bat, they can forget about their actual surroundings and punch someone, something, furniture, and harm their hand, which is not a good thing. There's also something called simulator sickness. While playing virtual reality, people can get headaches, they can get nausea and eye strain. With mental and physical effects considered, I can now go into the third inherent issue about its stage of development. The stage virtual reality is in, its new stage, is a benefit to how the sales are going. Millennials and Generation Z, which is all of us, except Mr. Hofer, we are most likely to be involved in virtual reality because we've grown up with technology around us. Because virtual reality is still considered to be in its infancy, there are problems that are likely to occur. Like, virtual reality is still kind of too futuristic for today's technology. Less than 1% of computers today, they don't have the capability to handle virtual reality, which makes it out of reach for much of the general public. It's also very costly. One headset can cost up to $600, plus the computer you need, and plus something called a video card that can add up to thousands of dollars. everything I've discussed leads me to my conclusion. After examining the inherent issues, there is no right or wrong answer to whether virtual reality will benefit or harm our society. It definitely affects our mental state, it affects gamers' physical state, and its stage of development affects how we approach the upcoming sensation. I would just like to close by quoting Mike Rothenberg, head of Rothenberg Ventures, which is kind of taking a closer look at virtual reality and what it's about. He says, quote, "Every technology has a downside. The only question is how we handle it as a society, close quote. Well, I mean, teachers could adopt virtual reality. Once it becomes less expensive, they can use it as a teaching reference to anything, math, science.
So with the research you did you find that there was more harm or more good in virtual reality?
It depended on the research and on the articles, because the articles I found were biased. So mostly I kind of looked at more the negative. I'd say more negative, but that's because it's new and there's still problems to work out.
Was that the negativity in those articles? Was because it's so new there are all these bugs that need worked out, or
Yeah.
and it's not necessarily about like virtual reality as like a way of the future kind of thing?
It's more because it's new and there's still more bugs. It's so expensive. They're trying to work on getting the cost down.
All right, good job.